how to identify the difference between what you expected and what actually happened in your performance appraisal to get to the success zone. And the chapter does not end here. The 4 zones of internal growth. The first one is suicidal zone, where we are not even able to perform, nor do we have the visibility. And the next zone is high performance. We are a performer. Most of us, before joining the CGM, we were high performers. We thought that we are a performer, we do everything right, we try to bring in the results also, but फिर भी internally grow क्यों नहीं कर रहे हैं? And then we realized that because of low visibility. And then some of us are here, like very few. We are not the performers. We are only and only in visibility zone, high visibility. And that's where we call it a survival zone, that you can talk about certain things which you're not even doing, which you're not even done. And you're just talking about things which probably one fine day will be caught. However, in this CGM process, we understood that we need to be into the success zone, where performance, of course, we are performers. We have been delivering results. We are focused on these things. And we have good amount of learnings already there because of our career. 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, more than 20 years. And along with that, if we bring in high visibility, success jhak maar ke aayega. There are 3 major questions which are unanswered in your mind at this stage. 3 major questions. How to identify the difference between what you expected and what actually happened in your performance appraisal to get to the success zone. There is definitely an expectation because you performed, and some of you right now into high visibility zone as well. And hence your expectation has gone even further. कि भैया अब तो सब कुछ कर रहे हैं, काम के बारे में बात भी कर रहे हैं, achievements के बारे में बात भी कर रहे हैं, present भी कर रहे हैं जहां जहां मौका मिल रहा है. And still, what will happen? Will I get into the success zone, or I will be into the survival zone, suicidal zone, and so on and so forth? And the next question, how and when to speak up when the performance appraisal system goes against you? Yeah, how do we speak up? What should be the strategy to speak up? Should we kind of jolt the system? Should we go and talk to our boss running and asking him or her the questions that, how dare you? What if your boss violates a promise? Now this person promised you that this time, Akshat, definitely you will be in the top of the bell curve and you'll be given what you deserve. I assure you, I promise you. And you are like quite confident that this time I'll be in the success zone because my boss has promised. कहानी में twist आता है और गब्बर आता है और बोलता है अब मैं हाथ कटा हूं, मेरे हाथों में कुछ नहीं है, सब कुछ सीनियर मैनेजमेंट के हाथ में है, मैंने तो अपनी तरफ से पूरा जोर लगाया था, बट क्यों नहीं हुआ? I don't know. There are majorly 8 pain points which lead and which are actually not allowing us to get the desired internal growth. The number 1 biggest pain point is blame game. Yeah, when we see that we did not get what we deserved, when we see our boss was not able to get us where we should be in the success zone especially, so we start the blame game. उसका हो गया, इसका नहीं हुआ, उसका करवा दिया, मेरा नहीं करवाया, मुझे क्यों इतना कम इंक्रीमेंट मिला, उसको क्यों इतना इंक्रीमेंट मिला, all that cross talks start happening. The number 2 is burnout. Some of us feel like after putting so much of hard work, so much of effort, फिर भी नहीं दिया इस बारी, अब तो मैं काम ही नहीं करूंगा या करूंगी, हाथ खड़े हैं मेरे, बॉस जाने और उसके बाकी टीम मेंबर्स जाने, I am done, I am going to look out. Number 3, comparison with fellow colleagues. 1% ज्यादा दे दिया उसको, शक्ल देखिए, डिजर्व भी करता है, मुझसे तो बहुत कम परफॉर्मेंस है. I rate him or her, even though you don't have any rights. This guy is not deserving 1% extra. recognition. Now, even though these things are not happening, I agree, bell curve hai, ye hai, wo hai, flana hai, dimkana hai, sab kuch theek hai. But recognition bhi nahi milta hai. I mean, appreciation bhi nahi milta hai for the work we are doing. And yes, of course, the bell curve, which is being told to most of us that this time, the highest which we gave was 9%. No promotion since long. It's been years. We see some of the colleagues, some of the fellow team members, they're getting promotion every alternate year. This person just joined. अरे पिछले साल तो ज्वाइन किया था, अभी कैसे प्रमोशन दे दिया इसको? मुझे तो नहीं दिया 3 साल से. Lack of trust on boss. This leads to the biggest factor is that lack of trust on boss. Last but not the least, we all have given all these points a very beautiful name called office politics. And office politics is nothing, just a blame game. And when that blame game starts, it leads to office politics. Because that water cooler talks, those side talks are going from one person to another, to another, to another, to the senior management, to the top management, and फिर हम शिकार हो जाते हैं office politics का. And we give it a name called office politics. This is majorly the pain point when we do not get what we actually deserve. This is what happens. More or less, this is what happens. Sometimes recognition is manager will loop it manager and two-level manager with the whole team. Sometimes manager will loop only the reporting. Yeah, all those things. Yes, agree. Now, I want to summarize this, guys, for all of you so that you remember this categorically कि अगर अगली बार ऐसा कहीं कुछ होने लगा तो मैं अपने अंदर क्या चेंज लाऊंगा, because that's what we control as a CGM family. We can't control your boss, we can't control your any other thing, bell curve. We can just control you. This is what we can make as a change so that we do not get into a suicidal zone. We are here to go to the success zone. So the two major factors, leading factors, the first one is SZ. The rest of the 4 factors, bell curve, no promotion since long, lack of trust on boss, office politics, this leads to another zone called VZ. When we are not getting the desired internal growth, we actually fall into one of this, SZ or VZ. So when the burnout happens, when the bell curve is not in our favor, when the office politics starts happening, so we get into either of these 2 killers. These are actually 2 killers, which we need to work upon now. Silence zone. We start going into the silence zone, SZ. And the next one is violence zone. We take either of these 2 routes. When we see that हमें मिलना चाहिए था X, हमें मिला Y, किसी और को मिला Z, we do those comparisons and then we fall into these 2 things. Even though if we are a shy or an introvert person, we sometimes get into violence zone, which is not at all going to benefit. Now, going back to, this was like the pain points, which probably I am just setting the context for you guys to get this in properly. Now, answering the question number 1. How to identify the difference between what you expected and what actually happened. Now we are smart. Now we know that either we go to a silent zone or a violent zone. But Vishal, what should we do? We expected. There's nothing wrong in expecting, right? We performed and we are now getting visible as well. But still, so how do we identify? This is how we identify. There is an expectation and there is a performance. Why are you expecting? Because you performed. You delivered. However, there is something in between happening, and that is behavioral gap. Your expectation could be really big, and in your eyes, your performance would also be up to the best. I am the best. I've done the best. I deserve much. I deserve better. I deserve big. But have we put ourselves into others' shoes? Have we tried to find out what exactly is the root cause? Or we are just listening here and there somebody said I got this, somebody said I got this, somebody said that this, somebody... Are we kind of having the entire thing available in front of us? So before you start drawing any conclusion here, I would like to get 100% attention from all of you here now. Let's understand how this behavioral gap comes into the picture. And we are talking about something, I'm reminding you, which we can control, which is in our hands. What causes this behavioral gap? We fear bad results. When we are actually not able to produce results, we kind of fear that, oh my God, my performance, I think that I did a decent job, but actually the reality is something else, and we're not ready to face that reality. We have the fear. We fear poor reputation. As a child, we've been nurtured like that. Good marks we need to score, good friends we need to make, we need to score heavily, go to a good college. Everything has to be good. So poor reputation हम लोगों को digest ही नहीं होता है. We fear retaliation. Now we are sure that we produced good results, great results, because we all went to the silent zone, and there is a way to retaliate, right? It's not that we have to go to the violent zone to retaliate. There is a way. I'll teach you that also today. But we fear. पहले तो हमें डर ही लग जाएगा तो हम आगे स्टेप ही नहीं लेंगे ना, बढ़ेंगे ही नहीं, तो कहानी खत्म. We fear blow up. If I go and talk about my poor appraisal, my poor recognition, my poor grade, I deserved extremely, वो क्या बोलते हैं उसको, extremely satisfactory results, extremely satisfactory. There are 4-5 factors, right, which we use. So when we go and challenge that, why did you put me into that outstanding? So we fear a blow up. We fear failed projects. The project was critical. The project was very important for the organization, and I was responsible along with my team to get that project through, but it did not materialize. And now, because that project was difficult, tough, even though you tried your best, but you still failed, either you're not ready to accept it, or you are not ready to show them the reality that why did it fail. We fear offending others. In fact, we can say we fear challenging others. Rather than offending, let's make it challenging others. कभी किसी चीज से डर लगता है, खराब रिजल्ट, कभी पुअर रेपुटेशन से, कभी रिटेलिएशन से, कभी ब्लो अप से, कभी फेल्ड प्रोजेक्ट से, कभी offending, challenging others. When faced with crucial moments, most of us tend to say nothing, which only increases the problem. Or if we somehow find the courage to speak up, we often do so critically, rudely, sharply, or some other ineffective way. I am reminding you, how you say is bigger than what you say. Just remember this always in your life. Sometimes you might not be having the exact answer to the problem, but how you say that, how you accept it, or how you reject it is bigger than what you know, what kind of information you have, what kind of a thing you want to tell. Now, a survey was conducted on 792 IT working professionals. And when we studied them, we found some common patterns, common trends. Yeah. And most of them said that we hesitate to discuss peer performance problems, which are indirectly impacting our performance. They take shortcuts. They give poor attention to the details. Sometimes they even leave the work incomplete. But we have that peer pressure, and hence we hesitate to highlight that. Not only in the appraisal, but at the right time, in the right way, confronting them. Yeah, some of us even don't do that to our teams. Many highlighted that they wait to share concerns or ideas that might improve an element of the business. आइडिया है दिमाग में, प्रपोजल भी है कि ये काम कर दिया, अगर करवा दिया तो ये बहुत अलग लेवल पे जा सकता है बिजनेस. But we do not do that. We do not share. We hold that inside because we feel कि ये किसी और का काम है, ये किसी और का एरिया है, तो मेरा कोई फर्ज नहीं बनता, मेरे को कोई पड़ी नहीं है, मैं क्यों जाऊं. टीम को कुछ होना है हो, बिजनेस का कुछ होना है हो, ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का कुछ होना है हो या नहीं होना है ना हो. टाइम इज पासिंग डे बाय डे टू स्पीक अप when a weak policy is being made by the organization and you know it that this policy will damage some of the work you've been doing, damage the brand reputation, the customer reputation, and you are reluctant to discuss even though you believe that this is like making a strategic choice. When you grow up, when you actually go to a senior management level, a leader, a CEO, can you imagine you becoming a CEO and you not highlighting these issues and letting them go? Next day only somebody will come and say that, sorry, we can't have you as a CEO. And the chapter does not end here. Basis that analysis, reason for people not speaking up in the corporate world, even though they deserve a better growth, a bigger growth, a bigger role, a promotion at the top of the bell curve, exceeds expectations. अब याद आया मुझे मेरे अप्रेजल में जब exceeds expectations नहीं आता था तो मैं लड़ पड़ता था अपने मैनेजर से. Speaking up versus social support. We look for social support कि 2-4 लोग और आ जाएं मेरे साथ, फिर जाके बात करेंगे. Speaking up is directly proportional to social support. I want to break this myth. Someone has to take an initiative. Someone has to. Yeah, either there are two things here. One is that either you are kind of a personality and influencer where you can easily pick some people who will back you up, who will support you, and together as a community you go and talk about the instance. But उसमें किसी एक का भला नहीं होगा, 4-5 गिरेंगे क्योंकि सबको तो मिलने वाला नहीं है, बेलकव तो है ही है. So better it is that don't wait for those people to come in, pool with you, and then you jointly go where you are wasting time 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. Better it is that present your case so that what has happened in this appraisal should not get repeated. At least you come back with that kind of a clarity in your mind that कि ये जो हुआ अगले साल मैंने इंश्योर किया कि नहीं होगा. Many employees, when asked, mentioned that they do not see others backing them up, expect retaliation from impacted parties regardless of laws, regulations being set, fear of being labeled as a persistent complainer, which could impact their career badly. Yeah, this is another one that मैं जाऊंगा, बात करूंगा तो मुझे तो कंप्लेनर का टैग दे दिया जाएगा कि दिलीप जब भी आते हैं कंप्लेन लेके ही आते हैं, ये तो इनकी आदत ही बन चुकी है. ब्रिजमोहन जब भी आते हैं यही सोच के चलते हैं कि मुझे कोई ना कोई बैकअप तो करना चाहिए, मुझे कोई ना कोई पीछे खड़ा होगा तभी तो मैं बात करूंगा जाके, अदरवाइज मैं कैसे बात कर लूंगा. या लुक एट दिस, इवन इफ वी स्पीक टू सेल्फ फॉर सेल्फ, इट हैपेंड अदर्स peers to which it happened to me.